Hello and welcome to GUNMA Peak. This is one of the most awesome circuits in Ride 6. It is a brand new one coming your way from Japan, a road race circuit, and coming to the screen is the 24RS Racing Series, the Road Racing Championship, and this time I am joined by Woody Howard to take you through this first race of the day. It is the Junior Supersport class, which delivered us a fantastic showing of action. And Woody, you were there for that one. That was absolutely fantastic, wasn't it?
What a race, unbelievable, and hopefully here in Japan we see very similar showings, which I'm sure we will.
Yeah, we're just waiting a few moments now for the race to get started. We just had a qualifying session which was dominated quite brutally by Charlie, aka Bob Rang, as you see him there starting on pole position on the KTM RC390. Three classes coming your way. The first of three, the Junior Supersport class, is underway as we get racing now, and away off the line fantastically is the Aprilia of George Wood Racing, I believe, or was that maybe Ross as well. Mogsy up to the lead as we saw him winning the last race in Nevada in this class. And a crash at the start there for George Wood on the GW Racing Photography Aprilia. But Mogsy away really well, Woody, and the perfect start for him.
Perfect start, honestly. Mogsy, he's doing what he does best, leading at the front, and he's just going to get into his own rhythm here and hopefully he wants to find a gap.
Yeah, the gap is what you need at a track like this, one where it's really easy to make dive bombs, as we now see Charlie trying to chase him down. Behind him is Ross, behind him is the self-proclaimed, I'll say this many times, Road Racing G in the form of Racing Roth. And Charlie the pole man going off into the grass here and into the wall, just showing how technical this track can be, even if you're the pole man. In as big of a gap that Charlie had, it's proving to be a difficult track to manage in race pace. He's lagging his way through the turn 10. Mason goes up the inside of his teammate there, the number 36 in the KTM, trying to get involved with Ross as well, going side by side down to turn 11. We're having to learn this track on the fly here as Ross gets round out wide. Charlie gets into second, he's into the wall, through goes Mason into second, and all the meanwhile allowing Mogsy to clear off of the front.
Oh, what a start to this race. Mogsy, everything's going his way here. He's got everything in his, everything's perfect for him. He just needs to keep his rhythm, and he should quite happily take this one.
Yeah, exactly that. We saw him display some fine dominance last time out at Nevada on that last lap. We had a brilliant battle leading up till then, but now Charlie the poleman dropping to the back of the pack down there in 7th, and already it looks like Mason and Ross are catching Mogsy in front, so making some inroads is the man on the KTM with the Scott right behind him. And it's a short race here. I mean, the lap is about 1 minute 30, but 5 laps, not a lot of time at all. Lap 2 of 5, and Mogsy leads ahead of Mason. Ross behind him. Adam is in 4th, and a big battle there as down in the middle of the pack goes Tom Kelly, that was, aka Talian. But Adam and George continuing to battle, and when something like this happens, in the case of George Wood, you've got the pace and the strength to be at the front of the pack. You sort of get in a bad mindset when something goes so wrong at the start, as it does again, and aggressive moves are made and mistakes are made easier.
It's pressure, honestly. When you have a bad start to a race, it gets stuck in the back of your mind. You can't take your mind off it, and you end up keep on making mistakes. So honestly, that start is so important. George Wood, as we've seen, he is struggling a lot, but he definitely has the pace, so he's just got really unlucky today here in Japan.
Yeah, that is correct, but I'll tell you what, luck is nothing to Mason, who's putting in the effort as the Road Racing G. That is a phrase you'll hear many a time in the Road Racing Championship, as he is in 2nd place and closing that gap, but he's running out of time, Woody. Only 2.5 laps for him to do this. It's almost like an online lobby, but the way these riders are riding is nothing like an online lobby. As I say that, Mason nearly goes into the wall, but he's managed to keep that KTM RC390 on 2 wheels. But it's a gap now that opens up, and the pressure builds, because it is such a hard track to push hard on, because you can easily find yourself underestimating the corner, running out wide at a hairpin, which looks faster than it is, and then opening your gap by an extra half a second.
It looks like such a technical circuit. Honestly, it's really not as wide as what I'd like it anyway. Oh, Mogsy goes a bit wide there.
Yeah, a really difficult track proving to be, as many goes down at the start. But Mogsy looking like he's able to hold the lead quite well at the moment, running a 28.4 as his fastest lap. But look at this, a 27.1 from Mason Roth, who now looks to go into the lead. Here he comes, just biding his time as Mogsy goes into the wall, into the other wall. That got close. He somehow manages to stay on it. A great job from him to maintain P2 as he looks to limit the damage. But now he's got all the work to do as the Aprilia RS457 looks to catch Mason Roth ahead. Mason leads this race now, and now the pendulum shifts, Woody. What does Mason do to maintain this lead after having seen Mogsy's pace out in front in the first half?
He just needs to push, keep a little gap, and kind of use the fact he knows Mogsy's made some mistakes already in this race. We've seen Mogsy just the lap prior to this one go into the wall quite a few times, lose some drive coming out the corner. So he needs to keep that in his head, knowing Mogsy doesn't really look comfortable in that first place position. So if he can just lead the rest of this race, he can do it, I think, Mason.
Yeah, but already Mogsy looks like he's having a resurgence. I'm trying to find the right camera option here, just still getting used to the right six controls. It changes all the time, but it's nice to see the showy helmets in the game now. It's really good to see. But Mason, he runs super wide there, cuts it back to get the exit at turn 10, but already you can see the pressure mounting as he tries to win this race. Now, a lap and a bit to go. Mason's got all the work to do. A penalty there for Mogsy. If it comes down to the run to line, you feel Mogsy won't be the man to take it home, but it's all going to be about how the riders structure this last lap mentally, you feel, Woody, because as they now come out the last corner, we know that Aprilia RS457 has a little bit over the KTM in straight line speed. This is the only place, really, because of how twisty this track is, that you'll be able to extract that advantage. But again, it's such a difficult track to judge online, especially having had much practice like I know Mason hasn't. You can easily make mistakes. So Mason, you feel, just keeping it cool, and Mogsy pushing it.
Definitely. But Mason, he looks to be under some pressure here from Mogsy. Mogsy looks so comfortable in this last lap. To be completely honest, he looks like the better rider so far. In that first sector, he has absolutely flown. Of course, he does have a 1/10 penalty, which will come into effect at the end of this race. So, will Mason get the advantage there by the end of the race?
Oh, that got close.
So close.
Yeah, we'll have to see whether Mason can manage that pace. We've talked many a time, I've talked many a time to multiple people about how much harder it is to defend the lead rather than to chase it, and we're seeing that in action here. The pendulum shifted 2 laps ago and Mason took the lead. The faster man originally is now the slower man. As Mason gets a penalty himself, that equals things. That was Mogsy goes down, pushing the front too hard. We said it was harder to defend than attack, but one risk that is posed when attacking is getting too excited, and benefiting off the pressure, Mason Roth takes victory in the first race in tonight's meeting. He wins the Junior Supersport race here at GUNMA Peak. That was a fantastic way to open the night, and hopefully we won't have any more issues in our way, Woody. But going into the sport bike race, Mason Roth putting the hammer down and showing us why he's a force to be reckoned with on the roads.
What a performance from Mason Roth. He really did not let pressure get to him. We saw Mogsy really strong in that last lap, but he just cracked down, focused on that finish, and he came across the line with nothing to worry about in the end, even with Mason's penalty, which he just got on the last lap just before Mogsy crashed. But a great race.
Yeah, a truly fantastic race, and one to remember in the form of the KTM versus Aprilia duel. Now, coming up next will be the sport bike races, where we do know there is a lot more bikes to choose from. And a shame, really, isn't it, Woody, that Charlie, the pole man, set a 126.9 in that race, but unfortunately couldn't convert that one lap speed into race consistency.
Such a shame, honestly. He really could have been a force to be reckoned with in the race, but of course he really, that one lap qualifying pace, people struggle with it. They struggle with maintaining that pace in race situations, so it's definitely unfortunate there.
Yeah, a mistake he'll be looking to rectify if he is competing in the sport bike race. But that was the Junior Supersport race at GUNMA Peak, and I think the difference in bikes is a little bit more minor than we do find with the GSX-8R, ZX-4R. More bikes being introduced into the new sport bike regulations. As I now take a look at the updated tables made by Charlie, we have on the grid the Kawasaki ZX-4RR, the Moto Pattern that can't be upgraded because it is a complete race bike from the start, but here it is, the Moto Pattern, of course liveried up in the Paget's colours. This is the bike that Michael Dunlop has taken to many TT wins over the years in the Super Twin class, which looks like it's on its way out. A very popular machine using the Kawasaki ER6 engine, but a race chassis, which can definitely make a difference. It might not be the biggest of differences, but when you've got a bike that's built for racing rather than what is a literal stock ZX4R and the rest of the field R7s and GSX8Rs, might just make a little bit of a difference. I personally prefer the Pattern.
Definitely.
As we now wait for the sport bike race to get started. Everyone just inviting, but why not? I'll do my best to stay on the bike. Let's take a look at this Gunma Peak circuit. Unfortunately, we won't be able to take you through it, but you'll have to go through it together as we both will analyse each corner and try make a bit of a result for it afterwards when we decide where the best overtaking points are. I'm probably going to have to turn down the game volume at this point, as we see the Malenko by Paget's Racing lineup in all its glory. But this is one place where we saw a lot of crashes heading up to here, because I mean it's a tight hairpin, Woody, that's one thing we do know, and
Yeah,
obviously no gravel traps or anything, so turn one, lap one carnage can always make for a big crash there.
100%. It is
There we go.
basically, as we see in the second corner, somehow Riley has stayed on the bike, but hairpins galore is the first sector. Clearly here we have 3 back-to-back hairpins, but hairpins, of course, they're such a strategic style of corner. You need to know how to take them, how to tackle them, just to gain time over the other riders, because there's so many different ways you can go into a hairpin.
Yeah, this one being a little bit faster on entry, but once again, as you said, Woody, a bit of a hairpin city. But this one a little bit more open, so allowing for a bit more difference in line, maybe a dive to the inside and then running it wide to cut back on the exit to the next one. But again, another hairpin. But this is where things start to speed up.
Down into a straight sort of section here. This is where the bikes, you're going to want to try and align yourself for the next corner, the next hairpin once again. It is a very hard corner to overtake on though, because if a rider tries to go for the inside, they'll lose the exit speed they'll require.
Ooh, a difficult corner, clearly. But there you go. In all these points, it's showing you, while I'm making mistakes, how to learn these circuits, because road racing is a big different kettle of fish to a short circuit like you'd see in MotoGP or the Sport Bike Cup, Woody. So it's almost like a different sport, because you can see riders like Mason being such a master of the road circuits. Oof,
Yeah,
me.
definitely. I think you're on the wrong layout, Riley.
Perhaps.
I've had word that you're on the wrong layout.
Yeah, maybe so.
But still, we get the idea.
Yeah, as we now wait for the Sport Bike Championship to, the Sport Bike race to get underway. Too used to commentating on Henry's Sport Bike Cup. Excuse the abrupt Discord notification sounds, that will have to be muted. But as you can hear by that Discord sound, all the excitement coming your way as everyone gets excited about racing. But Woody, you can just tell when it comes to sim racing and motorcycle racing, it's a bit of a different story to MotoGP, no, sorry, MotoGP, car sim racing, because it's a bit more communal rather than a business ran thing, because everyone's so tightly packed together everyone knows each other, whether it's console or PC, everyone's raced together at some point, and there's always that connection you can make, and it's like a paddock feeling, isn't it?
It really is. The amount of people that me and you have ridden against across platforms, like you've said, it's really unbelievable. Like it's such a massive sort of community, but it almost feels like you said that it is quite like a paddock atmosphere because I mean, going into a public lobby, there'll be someone we've raced against in the past, and it will just be like
A catch up.
common, yeah, common, and sort of you're used to seeing similar faces, similar names, and it's definitely amazing. I love having a community where it's like that because it just means that the when you're winning, of course, you just have a better name for yourself. You can be more well known in the community without
Yeah.
having to do like an esports sort of route. So I do quite like it.
Yeah, that is actually a perfect way to explain it. Of course, it's been a while since you've been in the community, but still relatively well known underneath the name Prabhat TTS. Of course, winner back in the day in the MotoGP European League.
Back in the day.
Yeah, well, 2023. Four wins to your name in that championship
Yeah.
as well. Done time in the World Racing League Moto2, sixth. Your best result at Mugello, despite the lack of practice. So clearly. A talent, as you can say. It's been a while since you've gone on 22 wheel games, but to be fair, it's been a while since I've done any racing as well.
It has definitely been a long, long while, but the return will happen one day. Do not worry about it.
Yeah, those out there, the Prabhat TTS fans, will one day see a return of either
I've just announced my comeback.
yeah, whatever nickname that you know him by. Of course, Valentino Rossi goes by the Doctor, the Goat, of course, and many more. Vale, so many more. And in the form of Woody, you have Prabhat TTS, Osas, and so many different names that he's gone by in his racing times. Whereas I've mainly just stuck to Racepoint 95 or just Riley Davis. So yeah, it's something that is a bit different to many other gaming communities because the games are so small compared to perhaps the Formula 1 games or even iRacing or Assetto Corsa. You come to Ride 6, MotoGP 26, even GP Bikes as well, and everyone knows each other. GP Bikes is a bit more of a separated community because it's all PC based and modding based, but
Yeah, exactly,
again, you can still find some people there. Like for example, one comes to mind, Dewey Putra is someone that I've raced a lot in GP Bikes and in the Ride and MotoGP games, and then Hondo as well. Hondo, a famous name in fact.
Honda, yeah, very famous
In championships that we have raced in, and in fact racing in the RWT Championship, which is something that I'm now currently testing for to enter at the moment. So that would be nice to race Hondo again, but well, it depends whether he's improved on his overtakes, shall we say. Not
he was quite the dirty rider.
Yeah, very aggressive in his time. Many clips to prove that, but it's just everyone enjoying themselves, and when you can tell when someone's being obscenely dirty and trying to ruin it for everyone, and when they're just trying to race as a real racer would.
Exactly, yeah. Even if a rider does make a load of mistakes, as long as they're riding like they're like trying to win without wiping everyone out, I feel like it's racing even in real life.
Yeah, so we wait for confirmation now to see if they're in the qualifying session for the sport bike race. I'm surprised we haven't been notified. I'm waiting to see that we've got an invite. Oh no, sorry, not that we've got an invite. I'm waiting to see a notification saying that I've received no invites at all, and we're about to go into a race or something like that. But that does happen at times, and if that does happen, that's unfortunate because it means we've got to somehow entertain you for maybe 20 more minutes until the Supersport race comes along. As I actually don't know what I've just clicked on there and what we're loading into. There we go. No one giving me information, so I think they are into the race, and I have not been given an invite or anything, which is just fantastic. I'll have to message Charlie on that one. And of course, if you want to get involved in this championship or any other championships, you can go to the Ride 6 Discord server. That will include many different invites to so many championships and get you involved in this community that me and Woody speak so highly of. And if you want to join this championship, of course you can comment on the live, just let us know and we can send you over an invite. Quite often we'll have a Discord link in the description, but it's a bit harder to make. Oh no, apparently I was sent an invite but I've not received any. That's a shame.
This is not very good.
No, it's not great at all. Well, unfortunately the sport bike race is going to be missed. That is an issue that continues to occur in this road racing championship. Not much more to do really, other than review that track. But the words that you're receiving, Woody, did that include the actual layout that we're doing?
I have no clue.
Probably the village, I guess. that makes sense to me. It is that same turn one. So now we're going to jump on a super sport bike, considering we've got the super sport race coming up. We'll jump on the Honda CBR 600. We just have to live with the suit I've got on. I mean, at least it's still Honda branded.
Wait, so is Super Sport... Wait, so what race is next, sorry?
It's super sport after the sport bike race gets done.
Oh, okay.
And of course the permitted bikes in that, as we wait for the R9 and V2 to come into the and the new MV Agusta F3 as well. I can't wait for the R9 to get added. It's going to be so cool. But at the moment the bikes available are the R6 ZX6R and the CBR 600, as we can see here, and an MV Agusta. But it doesn't seem to be the preferred choice, as it's still the older 675 bike. As we now go on to the faster bikes, what differences is this going to make? It's such a difficult track. On these quicker bikes, as you can already tell, things are going to be a bit more difficult to get past.
Room for error is going to literally decrease to like minimal. You're going to have to make minimal mistakes. Practice is basically needed here, otherwise you'll not be lasting long.
Yeah,
The
precisely.
bikes are way too fast.
Yeah, as you'll soon see. Let's see how long I make it for at this circuit.
Of course, this is Race Boy 95, so this is not your average player.
Well, it is in Ride 6. I'm certainly not the best at Ride 6. But take us back to Ride 5, which unfortunately this track is not on, and that'll be a different story. As we now make our way through turn 8, I believe this is the correct layout, as we make our way through the red snake trunk. Such a flowy section, and then you come back to something so tight. It's really interesting, isn't it, to see the comparison of a track that has no limits in the form of Milestone, could create whatever they want. It really makes the track layout interesting, because you can compare it to tracks like Blue Wave, where Milestone has made it completely off their own back, and they're always so different from what we know.
100%. It's a very unique circuit. I don't think there's anything like this in any other ride game.
Still don't think this is the right layout, but it doesn't matter. We'll keep going because it's basically the same thing. But there we go, a clean lap of GUNMA Peak. Is that up? Yeah.
He did a lap, so that
Yeah.
is successfully completed.
That's a lap. I'm not even gonna. Yeah, I don't know if this is worth attempting, but an onboard lap, sure. Let's give it a go. It's time that we have to try and make up here on the stream, and this is where commentators really earn their money, is by finding how to talk about things when there's not a lot of things to talk about during perhaps red flag situations. And this isn't red flag situations, it's a situation of we haven't been invited to a lobby, which is
so we're not actually at the
terrible.
event.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, commentators that are just sitting there in the commentary box, which is, you know, maybe what, half the world away if you consider that they're in Japan. But yeah, let's see where that puts me on the time trial leaderboards. I can imagine it will be a wonderful lap time that will put us quite high up. Let's have a look then. Actually, that's something we can talk about, is lap records, and we'll compare that to what we'll see in qualifying. But already, putting myself 33rd, that's not too bad, is it?
Unbelievable, to be fair.
24-4.
Camille.
Yeah, a name that is not surprising to see at the top by any stretch.
I think he has the lap record on every single track ever.
Probably.
I've seen his name in first place everywhere.
Yeah, I'm 8
He
seconds.
might be the best ever.
I'm 8 seconds off the lap record. Oh, hang on, something's different. I've gone back.
Absol 12.
I've gone back to the top, and now our Marquez is in Marquez.
Oh, Marquise.
I don't know. I don't know how that's changed. I just went down and back up again, and Camille was no longer at the top. So, oh
Camille
no,
has
there we
been
go.
banned. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, Sacred Meerkat there as well on the 675R. That's interesting to see actually. The R6 and the 675R are not considered the most competitive of Supersport machines, but clearly in the form of Camille and Sacred Meerkat, talent making the difference.
Sacred Meerkat, another really famous name in the community.
Yeah, in MotoGP and Ride 6 as well. Been around for a long time. That's no slating to his age or anything. It's just he's an experienced racer, let's say it that
He's
way.
very experienced.
Yeah. Oh, what do we do in this championship to finally get a good race on our hands and have a schedule of no issues? Unfortunately, Sean did send me an invite, but it didn't come through. That does happen in Ride 5, so Ride 6 sometimes, that we do get an invite and it just doesn't come through at all. So thanks for that one, Sean. It's greatly appreciated, but unfortunately it did not come through. And now we have to wait and find out what we could possibly do. What would usually happen in this situation as a backup is replaying old races, perhaps from the same track in the previous year, but it takes a lot of computer space to download a replay of a previous stream, and it's something that we don't really have, to be honest, because last time out we only got one race in Nevada, so again, not the easiest situation for us, is it, Woody? But I'll tell you what, while we wait, let's go over the bikes that are allowed in this category. We'll go into the new bikes dealership. I don't even think we can look at all the bikes anymore like we could in Ride 6, but no, we can't. That is a real shame, but we'll just go to the bikes that we know are definitely there and will be featured in the Supersport race. One thing that will be prominent is the Kawasaki Ninja ZX636. Surprisingly, despite its old age and despite it being the previous generation ZX6R, is actually quite competitive.
Real.
Yeah, next up would be the Suzuki GSX-R 600. That's actually a bike that's nearly 10 years old now. 10 years old. But
still competitive.
yeah, exactly that. It wasn't competitive at all in Ride 5, but in the roads, a package that has actually been really popular in the SDPG road races, ridden by Mason in the Supersport class. Mason took 2 wins at the SDPG Ulster GP in the R7 class and the Superbike class. A brilliant ride from him, and clearly that pace carrying along in his road racing adventures. But Woody, actually, that's something we could talk about. Mason's pace and consistency across all road races. You won quite a few races in a row. I think even four races in a row, split up by a certain Race Boy 95 winning in Thailand. But yeah, four races in a row for you that you took victory, and then when the first one comes, it sort of just gives you that confidence to just carry it on, doesn't it?
It really does. It gives you motivation knowing that you're the favourite. You've proved it as well. It isn't just luck sort of thing. You've been there, you've won, and then you have sort of nothing to worry about because you know you've won before, so you can win again until what happened in my case was I just got completely outridden in the wet. But yeah, that's besides the point. It definitely really does help knowing you've won and you can win again. So for Mason, with a rider of his caliber in road racing, he can definitely go ahead and win more races in the future.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see if he's contending in the Supersport race. Of course, that would be on this GSX-R 600. And while we're here, we'll go and see if we can find the livery that he would be using if he's racing it. He would be riding the GSX-R 600. That is what he used at the Ulster. Let's just go ahead and buy it for this simple reason. As you can see, quite lucrative. I get money in Ride 6 just for watching races. And strangely, if you just join a race and spectate, you do get money in online multiplayer, and quite a lot of it, to be honest. So I do get paid for my efforts in commentary, thankfully. as I'll try and find. Here we are. This is the machine that Mason would be using, the KMG sponsored, KMG Industrial Services sponsored Suzuki GSX-R 600. A really lovely bike, and this is something that proves we're deep diving into the realms of finding anything possible to talk about in commentary. But when you know your lineup looks this good, it sort of just gives you a bit of a morale boost to practice some more, doesn't it?
100%, 100%. It really does. It just makes you want to win.
Yeah, of course. KMG Industrial Services, that being a sponsor of Mason's dad in real life in his road racing efforts. An unfortunate round for them at Tandragee last weekend, but hopefully it will improve as the rest of the season goes on. But yeah, good luck to the Rothray family and their road racing journey. But back to the road racing journey, actually, of Mason Roth Online. Really on a run of form, and as SDPG slows down its speedway and road races, he's coming into these championships to try and fill the void, I suppose, as we sit here and wonder how well he's doing in the sport bike class. I sure hope it's not a very long race, because we'll be sat here for a long time. But yeah, we'll just have to explain here. You would have seen that onboard lap already, how fast the super sport bikes are for this track. So imagine super bikes around there, Woody.
Oh, it's going to be unreal. It is going to be unreal.
Yeah, thankfully the superbike's not being out there this time
That would be
round.
it'd be too hard.
It would be. But here is another one of the bikes that would be out there. Actually, no, I don't own an R6. Never mind. We'll go back to the CBR 600. That is without a doubt yeah, exactly the bike of choice. It seems to be. Yeah, it's such a looker, isn't it?
Such a looker. What a bike to use. Definitely what I'd use, personally.
Yeah, many liveries available for that one as well. But of course, in fact, in a few weeks' time, after the season of the Road Racing Championship ends, not that you've been able to see much of it, unfortunately, much to our despair and Milestone's reasoning, will be coming up the 24 Racing Series Nürburgring TT, an endurance race including multiple different classes across the few days of events. So hopefully we'll have you on the commentary box for that one, Woody. We had Jack Hammer last time, and he was being able to give us a fantastic insight into pit stop strategy and things like that. But I think this time most of the classes not being pit stop regulated, because most bikes aren't allowed in endurance races, so it's going to allow for some extra tight battles and dominance being unhindered by pit stop strategies and poor choices and things like that. So sometimes it can be better to have a bit of drama in the pit lane, but other times it's better to reward riders on their pure pace rather than strategy.
Definitely. Oh, excuse me, sorry.
As we now continue to look around Ride 6. In fact, while we wait, let's get back on track. On the GSX-R 600, a bike that is a bit more controlled and easy to ride compared to the CBR 600 and ZX6R, bike that's known quite familiarly for its stability and grunt compared to the GSX-R 750, a bike that a lot of people have chosen for road racing because of its forgiving nature. And as you can imagine, Woody, with road racing, a bike with forgiving nature is one that you really need, because one small mistake can mean big things. When you're at a track that makes for such high speeds and consistent speeds as well, one crash can mean 7 seconds compared to a short circuit, which could mean 3 or 4.
You really need a bike that will, like you said, has a lot of forgiveness, because one, like, it's such a precise track, and well, even road racing in general, you have to be so precise. So having a bike that does forgive you quite a bit is probably the number one thing.
Yeah, it is the number one thing. It's a bike that you have to have a good relationship with as well, one that you've spent a lot of time on, which is why I've gone with the most forgiving bike of the 600 category to attempt a lap. This time we are definitely on the correct layout as we go through another one of hairpins. I'm doing my absolute best not to drop the bike here. As you can see, still learning the layout. It's not a track that I've done many laps on, and to be honest, not done too many laps on Ride 6 in general, but it's one that I will certainly try and complete. The lap is invalid, but it doesn't matter. We're not going for lap records here. We're looking to finish a lap which is at a relevant speed as they come around turn 10. I think lap times you're going to see in this qualifying session for the Super Sport category, they are, this lap I'm doing here, not going to beat anyone bar perhaps George Wood, who I know will be listening to this as he races in the Sportback category. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm afraid I'm not quick enough to contend with the likes of Mason Roth or Charlie Randalls, not being able to put down such a Randalicious lap time. But at a road race, it's less of a fact of, let's say, the Marquez syndrome, where you push to your absolute limit, crash, find that limit and adjust it. It's, you go very slow and build into the session. As I say that, I go back into the wall again. But it's just being as careful as you can and slowly giving it that little bit more every single time round. Also having that mentality to not get too excited and push the limits, Woody.
Exactly.
A track like this, it does warrant, like the TT, you can't get too brave. You ask a little bit too much on the brakes, on the throttle even, and it can bite back. So how do you manage in a race situation when there's someone catching up to you and you feel like you're riding already on your limit? Do you push for it a little bit more, or do you try and keep it consistent? Because to be fair, you'd probably be looking at a mistake coming from the rider behind you if they're lapping that much quicker.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was just going to say, look for the mistake for the rider behind you. Just kind of ride your own race, and if he's faster than you, he'll have to push for an overtake. So he could make a mistake, but it's exactly that. It's just making sure you're in your rhythm. You're just focused on yourself, and the rider behind will have to push harder to overtake you, which will probably lead to a mistake in a road race scenario.
Yeah, exactly.
It's definitely a hard bit of strategy in a road race to overtake.
Yeah, not the easiest track by any means to overtake, as I've just managed to stay on the bike there. As you can see, in full play is that strategy I was saying about, of just building into your races. And the Super Sport race is going to be a lot harder to overtake, so it's going to be about raw pace and who makes the least mistakes. Of course, with it being a longer race as well, tyre life is going to come into it. The strategy for tyres in Ride 6 is mainly hard front, soft rear, but someone might just go for a gamble because, like, for example, George Wood, who's not done any practice whatsoever for this one, might just go for a soft front, soft rear to get that early start, find the comfortable place at the start of the race and almost fade backwards, but continue on that confident bar that he set with the soft tyres at the start of the race.
Exactly.
So now as we now come over the bridge, you can see that wonderful view across the river. Trying to do everything I can, maybe a stint as David Attenborough here in Japan as we wait for the Super Sport race to come. But this time David Attenborough goes for a hot lap, because I'm looking to make a clean lap this time on the leaderboards here at GUNMA Peak on the CSXR 600 as we now make our way towards the faster sections of this circuit. Starting to get the hang of it, aren't we now, and getting an idea of where overtakes can be made. This is one of them, where you'll see people dart to the inside, run it wide and get a better exit for it, which can allow an inside line here. But this is an easy place to fold the front as you trail brake and go uphill. Something that reminds me a lot of Portimao, Woody, where overtaking can almost bite you in the back if you get too greedy with it.
100%. Portimao is exactly like it. You really have to be careful, just because, like you said, going for an overtake will most likely end in sadness if it's not properly planned out. I've just had word, race over, Mogsy wins ahead of Mason and Charlie. Mogsy dominated, Mason second and Charlie third.
Yes, brilliant to see from Mogsy. Not that we saw it, brilliant to hear that Mogsy did well. And let's get this lap to an end. as it looks like I'm gonna finally get to line here, as long as I haven't just cursed myself and focus on getting it to the line as we come around turn 13. This is going to make for a really interesting last lap, because on Supersport bikes, being heavier, it is all about how you set up that final twisty section and get the run to the line. As we now head back into turn 1, we'll go for another hot lap to see what we can manage, because they'll still be setting up the lobby. But Woody, as we now get used to this track, clearly on these Supersport bikes it's all about getting the runs out of corners, because you can seriously get it wrong on the way in, so the best way to find time is on the way out.
Exactly, yeah, just making the most of that exit speed, using it for the next corner, but of course you just want to make sure your entry is perfect so it does give you a better exit, because otherwise your exits are just going to be horrendous. So really, it is such a complicated strategy needed. Oh, as we have a big crash from Riley did.
Well, never mind then. That was a lap completed, and a hot lap at that. I mean, you compare it to Neil Hodgson's laps, that's not doubting his skill at all, but you can't exactly compare them to MotoGP or World Superbike times. And personally, I'd say my time was a little bit closer to that, the top time. So 127.1. Let's see where that puts me on the leaderboards here at Gunma Peak. Of course, we'll probably see familiar faces as we're now on the correct layout, so we'll be in line with all the people practicing. 15th with a 127.1. As we now look to the top positions, I'm 5 seconds off the top. Small gains, as we see Charlie there, second. Wow, that's fantastic. On the MV Augusta as well, the F3675, but perhaps the slower bikes providing an advantage, as we see riders on the RS660 in the top 5, Woody. So, as we called, the slower bikes making life easier.
Exactly, yeah, that is very strange.
Right, I will double check now to remind people to invite me. Everyone in that lobby who has got me added needs to invite me a million times just to make sure.
SD Productions Gaming says, Riley, I'll invite you many times, so this is a very good sign.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. I didn't receive your invites. I think we're having another one of those annoying situations where Ride 6 doesn't show us our invites. So unfortunately we'll have to get someone else to do that. And as you look upon the wonderful scenery of the invites received tab in Ride 6.
Lovely text fonts, brilliant design, honestly, milestone. They really need to bring more of this menus to the game.
Yeah, now you see where things start to cripple down. When it's nearly time to get racing, we're tired, we're bored, and we want some track action. We've learnt the track, we've done the homework, and now we wait for an invite to come through. Mason, your invite has not popped up.
Yes, milestone, says SDP Productions. SD Productions. This is
going so wrong.
This is not good. Mason Roth 13's just shared a bike livery, check it out.
Yeah.
I think this is...
That's not an invite. Yeah, I'm being sent videos of Mason spamming the invite button, but it's clearly not going through. Oh, I did not want to click that. I'm being told to restart my game, but that is going to leave you guys with nothing on. Let's give it a quick shot. We'll give it a try. We'll leave you on the starting soon tab. Hello and welcome back. You'll be excited to find out that we have made our way into the lobby here at GUNMA Peak, and we are here for qualifying in the Super Sport category. We have some exciting racing coming your way, and finally some racing coming your way as Mason has a moment there on the exit of turn 8 as he now makes his way through a nicely named actually AE86 turn 9 as Adam BGP has fallen through the map. What happened there? Oh dearie me, that's a shame. But yeah, Mason Roth on that GSXR 600, the KMG branded GSXR 600 that I called out he would be riding. Looks fantastic as the number 36 makes his way into the wall as he's currently on an outlap, I believe, but followed by Charlie on a Bathams branded MV Augusta F3675. Looks very nice, sounds very nice as well as he starts his first flying lap. Of course, we saw the lap times, Woody. Charlie's the man to beat.
Exactly, he really is. He is the favourite here. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does top the session because he is the best on one lap pace, as we've just clearly seen.
Yeah. The Junior Super Sport race showing that clearly. Fastest lap on the Super Sport, Junior Super Sports, and pole position by quarter mile. But I think this is the race that he's been practicing for the most. The league owners, we now go on board with him here at GUNMA Peak. You get to see a lap in awe of this fantastic Japanese circuit, this time at high pace and without mistakes. I say that as we hope for a lap of no mistakes. Yeah. As now I think about it, I think this is actually based on Initial D. This this circuit. It sort of reminds me of the drift layouts of the mountains used in that show, and also the fact that one of the corners was called the Tofu Store. Of course, if you have seen that show, you would know that the AE86 was originally used as a tofu delivery car. But at no point at this moment delivery of tofu for Charlie Randalls. It's delivery of pole position as he comes to the 21.4, already a sublime lap time to start off this session, knocking on the door of lap record pace, but already dethroned by Mogsy on the MLD branded ZX6R. How good does that look? Currently on top with the 21.3.
What a bike. Such a nice livery. And it sounds incredible, of course.
Yeah, of course, another name referring to Initial D, the turn 6 being called Gas, 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 if you know that song. Mogsy steps on the gas tonight as he goes through the Fujiwara Tofu Store corner. I had no idea how much this track was based on Initial D. That is really interesting as he now goes through turn 10, the legend of Akina's Ghost. It is definitely proven now. That is really interesting. But Sean Doby, wow, on the MV Augusta, goes up to the top of the session with a 121.1. Despite being the oldest in the session, proving he is the fastest out there. That is no slater to you, Sean. It is proven experience and knowledge. What a livery as well.
A lot of skirt on this track, that's for sure.
Yeah, the MV Augusta proving...
action.
Wow! Ladies and gentlemen, we have seen a new lap record in this very session here already. With 5 minutes left to go, Mogsy has put down a 119.9, and I will remind you on the leaderboards only a few moments ago, we saw a 120.1 on the ground. And now we've seen a 19.9 in an online lobby session as Mason splits the two, Sean and Mogsy. He puts his GSXR 600 in second with a 20.4. But wow, Mogsy clearly on fire and looking to take another victory tonight.
Unreal lap. He has broken a record in a multiplayer session. I don't think I've ever seen this. Oh, massive accident.
Yeah, something that you'd be more likely to see in the case of road racing, as you feel like there's more margin not only for error but to push as well, as you tend to see lap records in the Isle of Man TT races rather than the qualifying or practice session. Not that qualifying actually matters to the top riders, it's rather another practice session for them, as Mogsy stays on the top and stays on the ground, unfortunately, as he gets back on the bike. Looks like he got caught up in an incident there with George Wood on the CBR 600. He's currently in 5th with a 22.1, so quite a ways off, and you would have thought he might want to get in the slipstream here, get on the back of Mogsy, because
He has
slotting in
quite the
behind
pace.
someone in road racing is actually probably one of the best ways to set a lap. We see that a lot. The Honda riders, John McGuinness and Dean Harrison, Nathan Harrison also in there as well. He tends to slot in behind those two a lot to try and get a lap down at the TT. George tried it there, but it didn't last long because Mogsy clearly pushing a knife's edge because he's crashing a lot to beat that 119.9. Oh,
See,
Sean's
like-
on the wall. You were saying?
No, I was just confused because I saw like pit limiter
Yeah.
on Mogsy out on circuit, so I was a bit like,
Yeah,
Is
it's
he,
really, that's his teammate.
restart blind lap.
Yeah, yeah, he would have been because I think the autopilot goes in pit limiters off to the side of the track because obviously there's a lot less space for riders on flying laps to make their way through, so they just move themselves off the line and go really slow. As we watch Tom Kelly coming through turn 6, he gets on the throttle in 4th gear. Another fantastic looking back as we see Sean there off the side. No, sorry, that's not Sean. I'm too used to seeing Sean on the KTM. As now he's off the KTM is Adam as he goes into the wall. That's a real shame. Clearly the RC990 not being the bike of choice here, despite its strengths at the French Riviera a couple of weeks ago. As into the wall goes Tom Kelly. A lot of riders struggling to get the bike stopped here. As we mentioned, Woody, earlier, getting on the brakes is the hardest thing here.
Exactly, it really is. You have to make sure you're perfect, not making any mistakes, making sure you get a good X out of the corner. There's so much to think about on a road racing circuit like this one.
Yeah, and
So
at this moment the times are hotting up, as you were saying.
I was just credit to Milestone for making it's a really decent track. For a fictional circuit, it's definitely quite entertaining.
Yeah, as much as we do slime on Milestone for all their misses and issues, it is, as you said, a really good circuit. As we see here, George clearly not finding that the same result as he makes his way along the wall and into turn 10 with a 121.2. Not too far for the moment, and 5th place, not the worst thing at the moment. But I feel like the Honda might just be riding George instead of him riding it. As they say in road racing, sometimes it takes them for a ride.
That is very true. Mogsy's lap does not look like it's going to get beaten though. A lap record. I'll be very shocked if it does get beaten. With 1 minute 30 left in this qualifying session.
Yeah, it does not look like it's going to get beat. It is going to get beat. Wow, we were just saying it. A 119.8, 2 lap records in one session. Charlie sets the time on the MV Agusta F3675. It doesn't matter how he's down on power. 3 cylinders, only 75 extra cc, but no, not even that, because it's a Kawasaki ZX6R636 that he's trying to beat. It's irrelevant. The MV Agusta goes to the top with a 119.8. Mere milliseconds separate them. Road racing circuit as Mason Roth slips off there, but he's got more time to get a lap. Actually, no, he hasn't. He's got 45 seconds. That's not enough time to get a lap set because Ride 6 doesn't allow you to finish your laps within a 30-second time frame. As he makes his way through turn 7, Mogsy is actually improving. It's going right down to the end here. Can Mogsy retake pole position and therefore set a new lap record on the ZX6R? He makes his way through turn 10, the legend of Akina's Ghost, but will there be a legend of Mogsy's lap in the Super Sport class here as he now goes downhill through turn 11? He's half a second up nearly. This is unreal. Mogsy D88, the MLD rider, on his way now to pole position and an outstanding lap record, one of nearly superbike pace as he comes around turn 13 and to the line. It's sublime, it's unbeatable, and now it's at 19.1. What a lap time. Wow, he smashed out the window. Oh wait, what?
Invalid lap twice.
Oh yeah, that is strange. Wow, honestly, that's incredible, isn't it, Woody? A 119.1. Charlie improves to a 119.7, but you can't stop the man on the ZX6R. That is crazy.
What a lap time, honestly. We were just looking at the lap records, and he has absolutely blown it out of the water, as Mogsy D88.
An entire second he's just beaten it by.
That is definitely something you do not see every day in a multiplayer session or in a league situation like we're in now.
Brief moment there as I had to shut the back door in the garage so people did not hear my extreme reactions to that amazing lap record. But it's Mogsy on pole position on the ZX6R. 3 manufacturers on the front row in the form of Suzuki, MV Agusta and Kawasaki. Great to see Kawasaki, the team green Japanese manufacturer, on top of the timesheets ahead of Bob Rang, aka Charlie, and Mason Roth at the back of the front row. But one thing we have seen, Woody, so far today is that lap time does not account to race pace here.
Exactly, as we just saw it in the last race we commentated on. Really, the start changed the whole race, really. It really shows that the start really affects everything.
Yeah, exactly that. Just fumbling for your words a bit there, and completely understandable, to be honest, Woody, because of that amazing qualifying session we have just seen.
What a lap.
Yeah, exactly. Incredible lap times, and hopefully we'll be able to see similar lap times recreated. But clearly Mason has got a bit more work to do than he had in the Junior Supersport category. 1.3 off, but still on the front row. Not a bad effort, but you have to think he's not got a lot of confidence now.
Definitely. I'm so intrigued to see how this goes, because Mogsy, he's with that performance, if he doesn't win this, I will be severely shocked.
Yeah, riding the crest of the wave. But one thing I will mention is that how much he crashed in that session to make that lap time. So will we see that come into play here? Here we go then, the final race of the night. Only the second one, but nonetheless, a lap record in qualifying, and coming up, a record attendance for this race. You can see the crowd getting ready to go underway. We get ready for this race, and they go down into turn 1. A big grid this time of 9 riders. The KTM of Ex-Pusby. We didn't even mention Zach into the lead on the KTM. The Grunt getting the advantage into turn 1, and once again it's showing turn 1 making a difference. Zach now leads the race, but around his outside is Mogsy. He's going to run it wide and into the wall, something that we knew was going to happen. As Mogsy leads this race ahead of Mason in second on the Suzuki, Sean in third now, make it fourth on the MV Agusta. Mason Roth shopping and changing with George Wood, Charlie as well. Charlie Randalls making a Randalicious move to get back up into second place. There's Sean. Oh, everyone's getting involved in this battle. Onto the grass as Tom Kelly gets involved. Sean's at the inside. He sits up Mason. You don't know where to look. George Wood is up into third, and Mason's dropped down to sixth. Oh, and down goes Sean. A big name goes down at the start of this race, and already pulling away is Mogsy. But hot on his heels is Charlie in second on the MV.
We have a amazing race on our hands here. What a start from Mogsy. He's really proven what he proved in qualifying with that lap. He has bridged an absolutely insane gap on this first lap. But do not count out Charlie. He's definitely one to watch, because he was fast in qualifying as well, which it was easy to look past that with Mogsy's laps, but he was fast in qualifying, and in that first corner he has gained so much.
Yeah, that was so on the edge.
It is anyone's race. I would say one of these two, unless Mogsy does make a race-changing mistake, which is very possible in a road race like this one.
Yeah, starting off already though, he was 0.8 of a second quicker than Charlie on the opening lap, but it's irrelevant. Charlie closing that gap into turn 6 on the throttle. Clearly that underpowered bike making a bit of an easier machine to push, as we see pushing out wide there into turn 8. Mogsy takes a stop off at the tofu store and loses time to Charlie behind him as they now make it their way through turn 10. This is where things start getting wider and harder on the brakes once again, and proving it there. Hard on the brakes is Mogsy, not hard enough as he runs it wide, and now they go down the hill as Charlie chases him down through turn 11 at such a fast track, especially in the last sector. How does Charlie go about this? It's harder to overtake. It's not as easy as just overpowering them in the slipstream and on the exits like it was in Junior Supersport. He really has to judge this to perfection, and with 6 laps to go, he's got plenty of time to do it.
He's had such that lap there was amazing from him. A 120.1 in a race situation is unreal from Charlie.
Yeah, something. A sight to behold. There's a sight to behold. He goes down. He's in the wall, and so is George. Mogsy's been handed the gift of dreams, as now it is an MLD 1-2 in this race. We didn't even mention Ross in that qualifying session, despite how competitive he was at Nevada and French Riviera and even that Junior Supersport race. He's now up into second to make an MLD 1-2 for Kawasaki. The other rider is, of course, Tom Kelly, who's unfortunately disconnected from this race, I think. Yes, he has. A poor start for him. Tom Kelly disconnects. But the man on form, the man with the speed, the man who were big enough to win this race has unfortunately gone down and is now down, languishing in third, feeling sorry for himself. But Ross is in second and might just have something up his sleeve to catch Mogsy. But it's a big gap to close.
It is a big gap. Mogsy will have to make a mistake. I feel that's the only way he will lose this one, because he has such a massive gap and he is the favourite with his lap time he set in qualifying. So really, give him the trophy already if he can stay on the bike, that's for sure.
Yeah, halfway through this race already as we hit lap 4. Mogsy has got the job to do. He's done a 20.4 on that last lap. 2 consistent runs of a 20.4, already upping the pace as he rounds turn 4. It's getting closer between the two Kawasaki's, but I think at this point now, Mogsy's just getting into that confident realm. He's not knocking on the door of his qualifying times by a long shot, but he's at a calm and consistent pace which he knows he can manage. A true masterclass from Mogsy to possibly take the lead of the Supersport Championship. He's on tie with Alfie Cox, that is, in the lead of the championship heading into this one. 22 points was the score for both him and Alfie, and now it's going to accelerate to an even bigger gap. But third in the standings is Ross on 12 points, so Ross limiting the damage done, but Mogsy clearly pulling away in the championship. And when something like this comes to happen, a massive gap like Mogsy will have if it stays like this, as you said, Woody, earlier on, it can really help you and put you in good stead for the rest of the season to go on a run of form. And a run of form in lap time we're seeing from the ZX6R now.
He is going to set a personal best lap here.
Oh,
a
my
19.2 in a race situation. What a lap time. He is looking unbeatable here in Japan. I have no words.
Yeah, it is truly indescribable how incredible Mogsy is riding at the moment. As he's already 2/10 up in Sector 1. He's actually going for a lap record in the race. He's that confident. We could see something replicated of the TT. It's like watching the first 135 mile an hour lap set. And it's almost like even crazier, the 130 mark set by John McGuinness when he did that on an in lap at the TT. Mogsy lost a bit of time there catching the grass, but it's time that he knows he can find clearly, pushing on, running it wide at turn 8, but giving him an inside line in the second half of the chicane. He is on fire, Woody, because as we see things stretch out behind, we just watch in awe of these lap times Mogsy's putting down.
He is just dominating here. Really, I was not expecting a performance like this from Mogsy. I was expecting one lap pace only in qualifying, but he is really piling it on. A 119.2 in qualifying, and he's got room for improvement.
Yeah, he's really putting on a show for us here as he makes his way through turn 13. Let's see if he can improve. Let's go on board with him as he crosses the line for another lap time. It's a 20.1 and clearly losing a lot of time at the second half of the lap and deciding to not risk it for now. But 3 laps to go and 3 more laps for him to try and beat his lap record and try and find that time that he did find again and again. 0.3 of a second up as he makes his way through turn 4. Charlie's made his way through on George. A good ride from George, actually. We did say that he might be struggling due to no practice, but a really good job from him. Mason, though, what a shame for him. Really struggling here as the man who won in the Junior Supersport race.
This is an insane performance from Mogsy. He is still a 10th up. He is looking to break the 19 barrier, go into the 118s, which is definitely possible.
That would just be unreal to see as he makes his way through turn 9. Whoa!
Oh,
wow! Careful,
how
Ross. Careful. Nearly just handed the victory away to your teammate there. Oh no, sorry, Ross. Mogsy even. We're on board with Mogsy, getting confused there between the two Kawasaki's. It's of course Mogsy in the lead, not Ross. Ross in second. And speaking of another Ross, join me and Ross McIntyre for this weekend at Mallory Park. the 1000 Bikes Festival coming your way on the Motorsport Media YouTube channel. That'll be an amazing event to see, of course, as we now see Mogsy making his way through turn 1. 2 laps to go. Will he try knocking on the door again of the lap record? Will we see that? I don't know. The tyres clearly dropping off now as he's on the double softs. Clearly that tactic working. We said that could be a possibility, and it seems to be the one to make. Through turn 5 now. Mogsy. 2 laps left to him to go. Behind him, his teammate Ross, who's getting closed in by Charlie. We have a battle at the end of this race, maybe for P2, as a 20.1 has come the way of Charlie. Not too far off the lap times Mogsy's been setting, but on that last lap, Ross did a 22.1 and Charlie did a 20.1. 2 whole seconds faster. That is unbelievable. That is unreal from Charlie, as unfortunately Woody's mic has died, so unfortunately he won't be able to commentate on this final moment, but that's fine. It's no worries, because I don't know if I'd be able to stop speaking anyways. We have 1 lap to go after this. 1 they cross the line. Charlie's closing in. It was 2 seconds between them. Hopefully Woody will join his phone just to cover this last couple pieces of action at the end of the race, maybe when we get to the line for one last go at it. Will he be able to put another lap together to be all that much faster than Ross this time round? Welcome back, Woody, on your phone. The quality might not be as good, but that's fine. The quality of racing is going to be electric with only a lap to go. Can Charlie catch Ross?
Definitely. I feel he's close enough to go for a move. We are on the final lap though, so he's made a bit of a mistake. He's gonna go. I reckon he's gonna make it. He will make it.
Yeah, he's a bit wide there. Cut it back for the exit, but it is certainly a short lap. Ross will definitely up the pace now that he has seen Charlie speeding up, and already Mason's passed George into 4th place. So these two battling as well. As we know, these two have had a bit of history in road racing, and there's the history. George shoves Mason out the way, and this is the battle we'll focus on for now, as Charlie waits to find a way through on Ross, trying to put his speed into effect, but struggling to find the confidence to make the move. This lap clearly being slower, but look at that. Oh, George is on the grass. Mason's going to try and force the GSX R600 up the inside. This is going to go to the flag between those two, but to the flag comes Mogsy. In a few corners time, we're going to keep an eye on this battle as Ross runs wide, but we're going to look at Mogsy, who wheelies to the line. He's set a 121.9 the last lap, still great pace, but here we go. The pace has been in the hands of Charlie. It's the run to line. It's not going to be enough by any stretch for the MV Augusta to take second. A brilliant win for Mogsy to take another one here in the Road Racing Championship by 24 RS. But here we go, Mason setting up the exit, trying to get in enough gap to take advantage of the penalty for George. It's enough! It's enough! Mason Roth takes home 4th, but Mogsy, what a performance! Knocked on the door of his lap record pace and didn't look back. A mistakeless race from him to put the ZX6R on top, Woody.
Unbelievable race from Mogsy. I was predicting a bit more of a close race, but Mogsy absolutely dominated it, and he takes the victory with a 119.2 fastest lap. Take a look at that lap, folks. He is 9/10 faster than everyone else on the grid.
Yeah, incredible lap times, as you can see there. Charlie putting the lap times in a bit slower as he siphoned his way through the rest of the field. The two KTMs locked together in 6th and 7th, and unfortunately Sean not being able to finish that race after a very poor start. But Woody, we finally get to see a Supersport race. How about that? That was a right old show.
Unbelievable performance. We really saw the best from all worlds. We saw absolute domination at the front. We saw a decent battle for the pole position in qualifying. We saw good battles for the rounding out positions in 2nd and 3rd place. It was a great race.
Yeah, a true show there at the end with the incredible pace that Mogsy put on. He will be returning in the next few rounds to come. Make sure you're around on the 20th of July. Make sure you catch live the finale, the final round of the Sport Bike Cup. Goes down to the wire at Donington Park. I hope you can join us for that one, Woody. It could be you, me and Jack in the commentary box for that one, because the final round of Donington Park sees Henry McCartney, Finley Cottenham and Ross split by 2 points.
Unreal.
On the 20th of July. Do not miss it on this YouTube channel. You'll be joining either me and Jack, or me and Woody, or both. But unfortunate race for Mason. He'll be glad to have beaten George on the last lap. But yeah, nonetheless, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for staying patient as we waited for the Super Sport class to begin and the Sport Bike class to end. We'll hopefully have all classes on track for you next time out. Superbikes, Sport Bikes, Junior Super Sport and Super Sport. But right now, we leave you with that Super Sport race where lap times were extreme. Woody, one word to describe that race before we leave them.
Unbelievable.
And I'd have to agree with that. The lap times were incredible again. Thank you very much for Charlie for running that league and bearing with. Thank you again for bearing with as we had some issues in the mid part of that stream. But we were treated to a great race in Junior Super Sport with Mason taking victory in that one. The Road Racing G coming home for a first and fourth in his Wednesday evening action. But thank you for joining us. That's all from me and Woody for now. We'll be back in a week's time for the next round